So BeCareLink solution is a platform for quantifying neurologic progression in chronic disorders. It's a gamified mobile app for AI-enabled neurologic assessment. And the reason that this app actually was developed, before I go into kind of the platform of apps that were developed by BeCareLink, is because we actually have a neurologic situation right now where only 50% of patients are actually being seen in clinic, and then when they are seen, they are mostly seen by primary care physicians, and exams are only performed 50% of the time. So we do have a little bit of a supply and demand issue going on in neurology right now, and so this mobile app solution and platform of digital health apps that are really distinguished by disease state is a very important development for these patients that suffer from these conditions. So the BeCare MS Link is the current app that's been deployed right now in about 4,000 users. The Alzheimer's Link and the General Neurology Exam Link app are in development. And also we have a ALS app and a Matthias Gravis app as well in development, and a clinical portal. There are a couple of medical devices that also link up to the apps as well. One, most importantly, is the foot strength medical device, which does link up and help score out and give some type of assessment for fall risk for these patients. The market size is compelling. According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, there are more than 600 neurologic disorders with approximately 50 million Americans and up to 1 billion people worldwide affected each year. So you can imagine, over 8.5 million Americans and 63 million people worldwide are potential BeCareLink users. And again, the neurological diseases that BeCareLink operates in are mainly multiple sclerosis, and then your neuromuscular disorders such as ALS, myasthenia gravis, and then again, Alzheimer's and dementia. And yes, Parkinson's disease as well with the General Neuro app. BeCareLink customers are your healthcare systems, your health insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies with neurological drugs or safety monitoring for these drugs as well, and then your clinical research organizations. BeCareLink is not just an app, though. This is a platform company that has developed digital health apps for remote patient monitoring that span across many neurologic disorders, and each app is distinguished to be specific for each disease state, which is very important for these patients. The multiple sclerosis app has Class 1 clearance and has been submitted to the FDA for Class 2 clearance. The General Neurologic Exam app will provide cost savings for healthcare systems, and we expect it to be released to the app stores by the end of Q1 2023. The Alzheimer's app is well into production, and that planned release is by the end of Q3 2023. So we have a couple of very exciting apps that we expect to be released by the end of the year. We're also developing apps for Parkinson's again, ALS, and myasthenia gravis. And the most important thing about the apps is that the AI and machine learning systems will calculate the gold standard disability scores, which is really important because we have an aging population, and as you can imagine, I just read something the other day where it takes 12 months for a patient, once they have early onset dementia, to then potentially get approved for disability. So that's 12 months that that patient is going to have to be monitored until they actually are considered disabled. The disease-specific evaluation at an MS center can take a long time. It can take about 90 minutes and typically only lasts once a year. With the BeCareLink app, the digital health app, patients can receive this type of exam at the comfort of their home, and they can be monitored for mainly about 15 minutes for each exam. With reimbursement, which we'll talk about in a second, patients can expect to be able to take these exams about 4 times a year. The General Neurological Exam app, again, assesses cognitive function, visual acuity, extraocular movements, motor finger cerebellar function, ambulation, and fall risk, which is very important for these patients. And via a partnership with Modality AI, these patients also have the ability to be assessed on mood and suicidal risks. These neurodegenerative disorders can be a difficult adjustment for these patients, so this is an added layer to really help manage kind of the treatment for these patients, as unfortunately their quality of life may disintegrate over time. The MS Link app is going through kind of validation studies, which we'll talk about, but is linked back to the Expanded Disability Status Scale, which is the gold standard for measuring and monitoring disability in multiple sclerosis. The EDSS has been validated to be within 1 point of clinical EDSS scores, which is very important. And the two validation studies that occurred, one was at Weill Cornell, and the convergence validity was excellent. These patients were categorized into 3 categories: no disability, mild disability, and moderate disability when compared with clinical EDSS. The second pilot study that was completed at Yale School of Medicine also verified that the AI, the artificial intelligence generated score, which we just talked about earlier, did correlate with the clinically derived EDSS. So again, very important for these patients. There is competition, which I feel sometimes is a good thing, right? These patients do deserve a best-in-class app to help manage these conditions, and so there are other apps available. What makes our app, again, distinguished from these is that we link up to that EDSS score. The BeCare MS Link app was approved by the FDA as a Class 1 device in December of 2021, and again, that Class 2 application is in progress. We currently have an ongoing Biogen-sponsored study that is occurring right now at Mount Sinai Hospital and again, Weill Cornell. Biogen, I just did a thorough review, has a couple of MS treatments on the market, and so these results will be pretty interesting to interpret. There is reimbursement. There's a set of codes that are available for a digital health app monitoring for patients at home. Usually these patients can be seen once every week. So the app could technically be used potentially once every week with one code. And then there's a few other codes where the patient could be seen monthly, or again, remote monitoring of up to 20 minutes. There are a lot of different codes out there coming out of COVID for remote monitoring from home. So, if you want more information on this, please feel free to get in touch with me. The business model is pretty standard: healthcare system per patient, per provider subscription fees. There will be targeted advertising partnerships with different pharmaceutical companies and hopefully some societies as well. Data will be licensed so that it can be interpreted a little bit more heavily, and we hope to partner with pharmaceutical companies and their drug trials. The advantages to the healthcare systems, obviously cost savings, but most importantly, it allows for remote monitoring for these patients. There have been some staff shortages, again, coming out of COVID, so it's just important that these patients that are experiencing some type of neurological manifestation are having the ability to be monitored at home. The BeCareLink leadership team and medical advisors are considered experts in their fields. Many are hailing from Yale, Weill Cornell, Mount Sinai. I've worked with David Petrino on a couple of other AI and machine learning digital health applications as well. And so you should feel confident that this team is very invested in helping the neurology patients. We expect to have about $1 million worth of revenue within year 1. Now that is sourcing from mainly patient ad revenue, and again, those partnerships with pharmaceutical companies. We do expect there to be some private practice revenue driven mainly by utilization of the app, and then also the clinical platform. So the funding to date is about $5 million, and the current raise at Series A is $3 million. We have received a matching commitment from existing investors of up to $1.5 million. And so if there is interest in this company, please feel free to get in touch with me. The use of funds right now, currently the $3 million is really dedicated to updating the MS app and then further building out the general neurology app, the Alzheimer's app, and then your ALS apps. And what's interesting too is we're looking at conducting a free 6-month charter healthcare system physician program. We really feel that as the apps are further validated, we'd like to have a really solid partnership with our physician customers and our healthcare system customers so that whatever the app build out looks like is really helping those patients. So, we're pleased to be able to offer a free 6-month charter healthcare program with these organizations. The BeCareLink exit, we hope to be acquired by a pharmaceutical organization, payer, or potentially private equity. And again, the BeCareLink medical devices monitor physiologic functions affected by neurologic diseases. And the third one, the dorsiflexion measurement, is really one of those medical devices that can help tie back to fall risks. So these patients have a very high elevated fall risk as well. Now the BeCareLink summary, this is, again, digital health app, yes, but the exams within the BeCareLink solution are gamified. So, typically the patient will be performing these assessments and games on their phone, and then we'll probably have a caregiver with them as well. BeCareLink is fast. It enables remote monitoring and assessment and objective, comprehensive patient assessments. It also allows for quantifiable clinical trial outcome measurements, and it has been clinically validated and FDA cleared. So if you do have any questions about the app and the BeCareLink company, please feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you.